Hello! Are you one of those people that loves classic TV sitcoms? Are you one of those people that loves classic science fiction? Are you one of those people that has strange erotic fantasies where a robot hooks up with a witch? Boy oh boy, do I have the TV show for you. Welcome to Teacup for One. My name is Matt, and I have 2 degrees, and today I'm giving you my first impression thoughts on the weirdest and most wonderful thing to happen to television in recent memory, the Disney Plus original series, WandaVision. WandaVision, 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 WandaVision. Oh, we're keeping this. WandaVision is a huge deal for a lot of reasons, one of which is the fact that it's the first new Marvel Cinematic Universe content we've had in over a year because of all the films that were delayed in 2020 because of, well, 2020. But even if you don't follow the MCU, and even if you're not subscribed to Disney Plus, you've probably most definitely heard of WandaVision because the marketing on this show has been insane. Like, it's everywhere. Go away, you're not sponsoring me. I'm just gonna cut to the chase and say that the gist of this review is go watch WandaVision. Even if you're worried that you're gonna have no clue what's going on because you've never seen a Marvel movie, don't worry. I've seen all the Marvel movies and I still have no clue what's going on. Nobody does. That is the joy and the genius of this show. I'm not joking. This show takes a lot of risks and makes a lot of departures from what we're used to seeing from Marvel. When I say Marvel movies, what's the first thing you think of? Probably this. Action movies filled with superheroes. But with WandaVision, we're getting this. Just moved to town, a regular husband and wife. A retro sitcom about a couple living in a suburban utopia. Yeah, you're probably watching that thinking, this is Marvel? Where are the superheroes? Plot twist, they are the superheroes. I mean, that's not really a plot twist. I'm actually making this video on the assumption that if you're watching it, you already have a base knowledge of who Wanda and Vision are, because I really don't have time to get into the details of how a witch and a robot fell in love during the apocalypse, and I honestly don't really understand how that happened myself. But what I do understand is that it is a massive risk for Marvel. Yes, the people who made an entire movie about a talking raccoon and his one-word speaking tree sidekick. But I can't overstate how excited I am for WandaVision. On the surface, it's this brilliantly executed homage to beautiful classic TV shows, like the kind that I used to watch on TBS every morning at 7 a.m. before I went to school, like Bewitched, I Dream of Jeannie, I Love Lucy, etc., etc. But it's also got these brilliant science fiction undertones that are reminiscent of The Twilight Zone and The Truman Show and Pleasantville, aka 3 of my favorite things ever. And to top it all off, it's all tied into the MCU. Obviously, WandaVision isn't the first Marvel TV show. It's not even the first Marvel TV show to tie into the cinematic universe. We had Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that just wrapped up last year after a successful 6-season run, I think, and then there was Agent Carter, which only lasted for 2 seasons and deserved way more because that was a fantastic show. But the major difference here is that those shows just kind of existed on the sidelines of the movies and didn't really have any effect on them. WandaVision, from what I understand, is paving the way towards Phase 4 of the MCU. And it's being headlined by 2 of the lead actors from the film universe. Like, this is a big deal. But you know what really excites me about this show? Is the departure that they're taking by putting out Marvel content that, thus far, at least in the first 2 episodes, has 0 action. And don't get me wrong, like, I enjoy the action in the Marvel movies as much as the next person, but I think the reason that I enjoy Marvel so much more than any other action film franchise is because of the characters and the story. Like, that's what I personally gravitate to. And that's what this series is all about. It's all character-based, and everything is tied up in trying to solve some kind of mystery. And you can just tell from watching a few minutes of the show that WandaVision is filled with Easter eggs. Like, both Easter eggs that are just fun references to the old TV shows that the show is inspired by, but also Easter eggs that are acting as clues and hints towards what is in store for us with the next phase of Marvel movies. So today, I want to take a look at all the things that I noticed in the first 2 episodes of WandaVision and all the things that I missed. First off, the stuff I noticed and loved. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying that I'm a pretty casual Marvel fan. I've seen all the movies more than once, but beyond that, I've never read the comics. I have no knowledge of Marvel outside of what the movies have shown me. Like, that's not my brand of nerd. My brand of nerd leans more towards, like, the acting, directing, classic TV history side of things. This is what stood out to me the most. The acting and directing in this show is so specific and so impeccable and just genius on every level. Yes, doing a parody of old TV shows is easy. Just look at any sketch from Mad TV or SNL. But WandaVision approaches old television shows the same way the Marvel films approach the comics. It takes all the conventions of a fantastic reality and grounds it into something believable, so that within just a few minutes of watching, you are so invested in the characters and in their world that if you're laughing with it instead of laughing at it. Once the whole series is released, I want to do like a deep dive into the directing for this show, because from what I've seen so far, I love it and it's so exciting. But what I want to acknowledge today is the dialect and the movement work within the first 2 episodes. As I understand it, each episode of the series is going to cycle through a different decade of television history in terms of the aesthetics and the mannerisms, and you can definitely see that evolution just within the first 2 episodes, especially when you watch Elizabeth Olsen's performance. Okay, first, I just want to shine a light on what cool work Elizabeth Olsen has done with Wanda's accent since her first appearance in Age of Ultron. With Age of Ultron, she worked with a dialect coach to literally invent the Sokovian accent. And then, as her film appearances went on, she had to figure out how to negotiate that accent with Wanda trying to assimilate her speaking voice into a more North American sound. So, basically, you have Elizabeth Olsen, an actor with a natural American accent, creating an Eastern European inspired accent for Sokovia, and then over the course of time, by the time we get to Infinity War, figuring out what it would sound like for someone with a Sokovian accent to try to put on an American accent without actually defaulting to your personal American accent. And then by the time we hit WandaVision, we get to hear what it sounds like when Wanda adds all the cadences of those great 1950s TV actresses like Lucille Ball or Elizabeth Montgomery. So then the end result is us hearing what it would sound like if Samantha Stevens or Lucy Ricardo were from Eastern Europe. Okay, clearly I'm not good at it. That's why Elizabeth Olsen has this job and not me. I'm saying I respect the work and it's amazing. Next, the movement. All of the movement in this show is so clearly stylized and choreographed, especially in episode 1. In episode 1, you can pause any scene where Wanda or the nosy neighbor Agnes are on screen and guaranteed they are in some kind of beautiful pose. It prompted me to Google if there was actually a movement coach for WandaVision, and lo and behold, there was. Good job, Matt, making use of those 2 degrees once again. So her name, apparently, is Jennifer White, and she's been working with the MCU, specifically with Elizabeth Olsen, since Age of Ultron. She's the one that came up with all of the Scarlet Witch's, like, hand gestures, which I never really clocked as being anything special, but actually, yeah, they were something pretty special. That's how she does her magic. So, point being, they brought Jennifer White on board to be the movement coach for WandaVision. Except instead of coming up with all these cool magical hand gestures, presumably she was in charge of stylizing all of the movement so that it was keeping with the time periods. And it worked so well! Now, I'm not going to pretend that I'm an expert in choreography or movement whatsoever, so as much as I would love to, I can't really break down the work that Jennifer White did on WandaVision, but just in terms of basic observations, just look at how Wanda moves in the first episode up against the second. In the first episode, that's more 1950s inspired, her energy is a lot lighter, it's a lot more up here. She's wearing these beautiful dresses, and it's like every time she moves, it's an effort to show off the dress, and her hands are usually very up and open like this. By the time we move into the second episode, and it's meant to mirror the 1960s, she has a more grounded feel to her, like a more Samantha Stevens Bewitched feel, and instead of her hands always being open and presenting like this, it's a lot more like this. Just everything is, it's almost like Alexis in Schitt's Creek. It's just a lot more, Darren, Vision, and just watch it, you'll see what I mean. So that's the nerdy stuff that I noticed. But now let's talk about the nerdy stuff I did not notice, but cared enough to Google. Basically all the Easter eggs and clues about what's to come. The biggest mystery with this show right now is the most obvious one. Just what the bleep is going on? Why is Vision alive, and why is he living with Wanda in TV land? The basic consensus seems to be that all of this TV world is built around Wanda, or that it's Wanda's vision. Huh? Yeah, some people think that it's a reality that she has constructed for herself as a coping mechanism to deal with Vision's pretty tragic death in Infinity War, but we also have that voice that's like breaking into the reality saying, Wanda, who's doing this to you? So that could go in a lot of directions. But either way, the show is playing a lot with this back and forth between what's real and what's not in a very Truman Show-esque way, and I am here for it. And even in these first two episodes, there have been a lot of hints about the real world. First, there's SWORD, or the Sentient World Observation Response Department, which is basically like the space version of S.H.I.E.L.D. As far as I know, we've seen the SWORD logo in the show 3 times so far. It was on the tiny helicopter that Wanda discovers on her front lawn. It was on the beekeeper outfit of the mysterious random beekeeper that crawls out of the manhole at the end of episode 2. And then the one that I personally find the most intriguing, in the control room, where that unseen figure is apparently watching the WandaVision show at the end of episode 1? Now, I have no clue what any of those things mean, but the reason that the TV control room excites me so much is because it's just like a hint that this TV world is going to be something more tangible than what I would personally consider to be the cop-out ending of everything being an illusion in Wanda's mind. If someone is able to watch the WandaVision show and they're part of SWORD, that just leads me to believe that SWORD is somehow keeping tabs on Wanda and Vision existing in this multiverse? Okay, the next thing I didn't notice. It is the same pair of actors in both commercial breaks in both episodes. I don't know what this means. It might mean nothing. But I'd like to think that the commercial breaks are going to end up being a lot more significant than we realize. If only for the fact that the commercial in episode 1 is the first time we see color in the series. Yeah, the little light on the Stark Industries toaster starts flickering red, and it looks almost identical to like the little dot on top of the eye in the WandaVision title card, and I mean, I feel like that's significant. Again, I don't know why. We'll find out together. And the final thing I did not notice in the first 2 episodes of WandaVision. If you pause episode 2 at 3 minutes and 27 seconds during the animated title sequence, in the floorboards, there is a helmet, which apparently belongs to Marvel supervillain, the Grim Reaper, or Grim Reaper. Again, I don't read the comics, I don't know who these people are. But apparently in the Marvel world, the Grim Reaper is a pretty big deal. I did some basic Googling. His powers include illusion and necromancy. So it's entirely possible that he is going to play out to be the main villain of WandaVision, and people are speculating that he's already been introduced just like in disguise as one of the citizens of the little town that Wanda and Vision are living in. And you know, since one of his powers is necromancy, who knows? Maybe he's going to bring actual Vision back to life and then somehow use that to tempt Wanda? Like, that would be pretty necro-fancy. Anyway, point of this video is, I bleepin' love this show, and I can't wait to see how it plays out, and I really hope it doesn't disappoint me. But I guess we're going to find out together. For now, friends, this concludes yet another episode of Teacup for One. Now, let me know in the comment section down below, have you watched WandaVision yet? And what did you think? And if you want to follow me for my future WandaVision reviews, or just watch me talk about Disney, Shakespeare, cats, and sometimes Funko Pops, make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you haven't subscribed already. It's super easy. All you need to do is click on my face. Thanks for joining me again today, everyone. My name is Matt, and I have 2 degrees, and that's the T cup for one. WandaVision, 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 WandaVision.